Good morning, Ann and Hannah, Meg. So we are starting on our backs, covering the mat with a blanket. And as you begin to settle in, to your body, maybe start with the legs straight. Just know what's pulling, if anything, and then bending them up. The Ujjayi breath and the out breath can help us expel a little bit more stagnant air in the lungs. So that gentle restriction of the throat, and then a little bit more forceful contraction of the lower abdomen. And allow the breath just to flow in without any restrictions. And then repeat. Almost like a very slow Kapalabhati, bright breathing, that stomach pumping. And we're doing this just to empty out all the nook and crannies of the lungs. We can't empty them completely, that's impossible. But we can rid some of the stale breath and facilitate a deeper inhalation. Then we can continue with Ujjayi on both the in-breath and out-breath. Breathing in and breathing out. I always found it kind of ironic in verse 1-2. Patanjali says yoga is quieting the mind chatter. And then in verse 2:1, he tells us how to do the yoga. So the three elements, the kriya, action. It is conscious effort. It is awareness of self. Be curious about you. And then the ability to surrender. To not be attached to the outcome. Oh, that's so hard, because if I do A, I want B to follow. But sometimes it doesn't. What does that mean? So that's, of course, the kleshas, and those are the causes of our suffering. Patanjali says, and we will encounter them. We don't know, ignorance. And the ego can get really excited about running the show. We may dance between attachment and aversion. And of course, there's fear, the most powerful of all of them. So it is by the practice is the practice. The 8 limbs, the yamas and the niyamas, postures, breathing, inner awareness, concentration, meditation, and ease. It's a path, it's a journey. Let arms relax down alongside the body. Just gently inhale and draw the shoulders up towards the ears. And let them slowly release down. And we'll do that again. Pull the shoulders up towards the ears, a little squeeze. And exhale, draw them down. Get a little bit more length. A couple of more times, sliding the shoulders up. And down again. And then we'll move into some gentle arch and flatten. Inhaling, arch the low back, contracting the muscles on the back, and exhale, flattening. Easy, consistent. What is different today than yesterday? We are in constant change. That's one of the ignorances. We forget. We think we're never going to change. And then let the spine rest. Take a breath in. Allow your head just to roll to the right. Pausing. And we lift the head back up. And we roll the head to the left. Take a breath in and out. And on an in breath, return to center. We'll go to the right again. So you're not as much turning as you are just letting the weight of the head roll it to the side. Those morning neck creaks can really get stuck. So here we're just seeing we can get the muscles of the neck to release, the scalenes or the levator scapulars, whichever it was that got stuck. And as you come back to center, pausing. We'll begin to get a little bit of length on the psoas. Because boy, they can get irritated. And if we move furniture, they can really get irritated. Let's just slide the right leg out. Sliding it out, getting a little long as you take it out. And then roll it from side to side and then let it relax. Take a full breath in and out. All the way down into the foot. And then slide the leg up. And we'll slide the left leg out. Lengthening out, give it a little shake. And pause. And we'll take the left up, and we'll do that again on the right. Lengthening, a little shake, and let it go. Belly breath. Remember the diaphragm and the psoas, they attach at the same T12 vertebrae. So by doing that deep belly breath, we stimulate or we help the psoas to let go a little bit more. And we'll slide it up one more time on the left. Little shake and letting go. Let's bend the knee back up. And we'll take the arms straight out from the shoulders. And then roll the arms up. So that invites for a little arch, like you're stretching. And roll the arms down. The shoulders will lift up. The chin will get jutty. Just going to roll the arms back and forth a few times. And then from there, we can get a little bit jiggy, rolling the right arm up and left arm down. And then switch. And as you do that, allow your head to roll from side to side, meaning as you roll the right arm up and the left hand or arm down, head is going to roll to the right. All right, we got the arm part going. So let's pause that and just let your knees go to the right. And exhale up. So the windshield, we call it when there's no arm involvement. Inhaling down and exhaling up. So we know this one. When in doubt, always a good one to pull out of the bag, but we can supercharge it a little bit by doing the arms. So next time you take the knees down to your left side, pause there, and then roll your right arm up, left arm down. The nose is going to be opposite of the knees. And we'll exhale back to center and inhale to the other side. So the somatic pals of mine, you know, this one is the washcloth. So it feels a lot like a whole wind-up toy. Everything is churning and turning. The notion of pavrita. And then as you come up to center next, and draw the right knee in, pulling it into the chest. Now the psoas is fully contracted. And then lower the foot and slide it out. Sliding out. Take a full breath in and out. And we're going to repeat on the right side this time. So left leg is bent up. Take the right knee in, pulling it in. If it's available, slide your right arm up a little bit higher. And then we'll take the foot back to the ground. Slide it out, reach out through heel and hand on the right, and then let it go. Now you can choose to not add the right arm in. If it doesn't feel good on your shoulder, let it be where it is. We're going to do that one more time. So my right arm is just up a little higher than shoulder. Sliding the leg in. This is a wonderful way to get the psoas to release because we're actually putting it into a contraction. And then from the contraction, we say, it's okay, you can let go. And then a little bit length and pause. And then release the left leg out and just toggle your awareness, right side, left side. In your lower abdomen. And just notice, does it feel like it's different? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But what you may be sensing is the release of the psoas. On the right, so we're going to match up the left. You're going to bend up your right leg, place the foot on the floor. And then we'll slide the left heel up, hold the knee in. Full on hip flexor. Lower the foot down and slide it out. Maybe reach a little bit up through the left arm again. Be a good steward. Less is often more, especially in the somatics. And I'm going to say in yoga too, working about 90% or less. Sometimes we don't know where that 90% is. Therein lies the rub. I know. Let's pull the knee in again. And lower the foot. Taking it down. And lengthen. That's worth repeating one more time. Sliding the leg up. Feel the hip flexors of the front groin contracts. That's your psoas. And sliding it out, leg, so that it lets go of its tight grip around the lumbar spine. And let's bend the legs up. When the arms are still out about shoulder height, there's a fun little proprioception exercise. Close your eyes. Stretch out through the fingers. And then I will count to 10 as you bring your palms together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did they come to touch? Palm to palm. Hook the right leg over the left. And we're going to do little trunk movements. So the knees are going to move right, hands are going to move left. Nose is going to follow the hands. Again, to create a little bit more trunk mobility, when we're locked around the rib cage, it affects everything above and below. That is pretty much the case with everything in the body. And when things are locked down, we don't have access to it. And we come into some compensatory movement patterns. Let's switch the cross of the legs. And we'll go opposite. So you're not going to go very far. Knees and hands are traveling equidistant from midline. Gaze just follows the hands, nose and hands together. And then as you come up to center, unhook the legs. We'll take the arms straight up and we'll take the legs straight up. So the knees can be bent if that feels better on the spine. So this is, of course, sleeping tiger pose. So yesterday was the Chinese New Year, the water tiger. So we're off to a good start here. Alternate arm and leg. So keeping the low back towards the floor, and right leg and left arm travels away from each other. Now again, be a good steward. We'll alternate. Right arm, left leg. So we do this pose on all fours, tabletop, when we do spinal balance. So in this variation, we have the benefit of the floor giving us feedback on keeping our spine neutral. Notice if it is bumping up and down as you move. Locking it down by cinching and sipping. And from here, coming up, let's shake out the tiger. A playful tiger. And then hug the knees in. And we are ready to transition. I'm going to roll over and come into tabletop. Now I invite you to have 2 blocks at the top. Now, gosh, false alarm. And then here, take your right arm a little bit out in front, keeping the belly button on the spine, and then just lifting the arm just gently up and down, but keeping everything still. So we did exactly the same thing on the back. So this is our shoulder. What kind of mobility is there? What is available? We don't have to get it all the way up. And if we have to sink the spine to lift the arm, then we are not really putting the lats into their full length. Let's go to the other side. Fingertips touching, palm facing the center line. I'm just taking the arm up and down. And just exploring what's available. I'm taking the hands down, and I'm going to wag my tail from side to side. What's available there? And I think we're ready. But before we are ready, we're going to get really ready. To take your strap and make a shoulder wide loop. So I can take my arms in through the loop. And it's going to help us corral our shoulder. So if you loop, because when there's tightness in the shoulder and the pec minors contract, when I lift up, and whether that's in downward facing dog or dolphin pose, if I don't have the mobility, then where am I going to borrow it from? When we put the strap on, we can't borrow it, and we're going to help keep ourselves in a safe position. So you can use a chair for this pose. I'll show you how to do that, or the classical with the floor. So with the floor, but before we get there, all of us, let's just see what we have available. So I'm taking my arm out in front, and then both in downward facing dog and in dolphin, I'm asking for full shoulder extension. Now I know the strap might hit you there, but notice, do you begin to arch the back? So this is pure shoulder. And then for dolphin pose, with the forearms on the floor, when we lift the hip, we're just moving from the other end, but what is available? What is available? Using a chair or a wall, excuse me, guys. On a chair, placing the forearms on the chair, and you control the descent back. All of them are really nice ways to practice this. If you can see me here, last example on a wall, you're still corralling in and you walk the feet back away from the wall. It helps get the shoulder extension, but we're not using gravity. So we're not collapsing into the shoulder joint, helping it open instead. So with that, I invite you to choose a chair or wall or floor, because we're now going to take it for a little journey. So forearms are placed, and then we begin to lift or move the hips away and come into the shoulder flexion. Let the knees come back, come out of it, and we'll lift again. So we're teasing it out a little bit. Not sure what is available, but you are in control. No point in overdoing, no point in underdoing. We need to hit it right on the mark. Let's do it one more time. And this one, maybe staying in the pose. Maybe walk the feet in. So just explores, all about exploration. I'm having a look-see around the screen. So for wrists that are a little chatty, this is a wonderful alternative to downward facing dog. But if it's a shoulder mobility, then using a chair or a wall is going to be a better option, because again, we're not jamming the joint. Being mindful. And let's all come down. We're back in tabletop. And we'll come to sit in Virasana. Hero's pose. And I say the same thing every day. If hero's pose is not your friend, then of course there is cross-legged Sukhasana, Siddhasana, or sit in a chair. We practice the asana, pranayama, and the concentration withdrawal are the ones that follow. Nadi Shodhana. We introduced it over the weekend, and getting our day off to a balanced way. It's a wonderful practice in the mornings, but anytime. So the mudra, Vishnu's mudra, take the index finger and the middle finger to the palm. And then I like to cross ring finger over pinky fingers. I have my little pincher fingers. Now the left hand, that becomes your counter. If you look at your left hand, you have the lines, 3 lines on each finger. Last one is where it meets the palm. So you can move the thumb along each finger to know how many repetitions you've done. Now that might sound a little crazy what I'm saying, but it will all make sense, I promise. We'll start with the thumb on the first line on your index finger. And then we will start the practice of alternate nostril breathing. Closing the right nostril, you'll breathe in through the left. Closing the left, and then exhale on the right. Inhale on the right. Close the right, and then exhale on the left. Now you're going to move your thumb down a line. You know you are on your second round. You inhale left, close the left, and then exhale and inhale right. Closing right, and exhale left. Move the thumb again. We are on the third repetition. Inhale left, closing. Exhale, inhale, right. Closing. And we're back on the left, moving again. Exhale, inhale, close. Exhale, inhale, closing. And continue to switch from side to side. The 2 pitfalls that happens in this pose is we begin to collapse. So maintain the lifting of the sternum, so a relaxed shoulder joint. And then we'll finish on the left side, meaning you'll finish with an exhalation on the left, and then release the hand down, and then you'll inhale and exhale through both nostrils. The left nostril is the yin side, correspond with the right side of your brain. And then right nostril, Pingala, is your left side. That is the active side. We switch the dominant nostril throughout the day. And then if you're congested and you have no dominant nostril, this becomes a little challenging. And so we can get stuck on one side, literally. And when we practice this breathing practice, we help bring balance to the two sides of the brain and the corpus callosum connection across. Let's bring our palms together at heart center. We will close 3 ohms. Om Shanti 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 Om. Let's take a deep breath in. Om Shanti 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 Om. I went on autopilot on that one. Let's do our 3 ohms. Let's take a deep breath in. Thank you. Namaste.